concerned with is the run of board meetings from April 21st through June 23rd. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 board meetings with only one Tuesday. So we're going for 9 weeks having a Tuesday board meeting with the exception of May 20th. My experience up here is that we have never gone more than 4 in a row, and to have this kind of a run strikes me as not only for supervisors but for staff creates a real set of problems here. We jam, and I just do not think it's and again, we're looking at CSAC and NACO having their meetings in the middle of that run. It makes for an outrageously demanding schedule, and I don't think I guess the calendar shook out that way this year, but I would be interested in going back and seeing what we did in the comparable year 7 years ago or whatever it is, and see how we arrange these meetings, because once again, when we get over 3 and start a 4th meeting in a row, it's evident that there's some personnel fatigue that kicks in, if not on the Board of Supervisors, but with staff as well.
But it also, there's 3 meetings in April, 3 in May. You're right, it makes 5 in a row from the 2nd week in April, or the 3rd week in April to the 3rd week in May. But there's only 3 meetings in April, 3 in May, and 4 in the first 4 in June. I don't think that's a overwhelming workload. I mean, that's just my comment. Any other comments from board members? John?
Well, I understand Supervisor Colfax's concern, and I would appreciate hearing from the clerk of the board how she feels that might impact the ability of her staff to prepare for all of those meetings and make sure we have the materials we need. But I think that we could kind of just keep this concern in mind, and let's see what the workload is. We might need every one of those meetings. On the other hand, if it looks like we're going to have a light agenda at some point, maybe we could build in an extra vacant day at that time. But I don't think we have to make that decision right now.
Well, another point to that is this is just a master schedule. If the workload doesn't warrant having one of those meetings, we can always drop the meeting. But my experience is, you know, this board, the last 2 years I've been on this board, we've probably put more things on the agenda than could actually happen. I think some of these issues, we didn't vet out. You know, maybe one of the previous issues Supervisor Colfax is talking about, maybe we didn't discuss it long enough, you know, and bring out all the issues. And when you shorten up your time frame, you know, that tends to happen. So I'd rather leave my opinion of leaving the meeting dates in there. And if for some reason the agenda don't warrant, the CEO's office and all departments don't have much coming forward, then plan it, and with going through the clerk of the board, we can maybe drop a meeting. But I'd like to see the meeting dates put in there. Otherwise, if we drop them now, then you have to plan a special meeting, and so it's better to leave them in there and drop them if you don't need them, rather than add them in later. Any other comment?
I would also like to say that I support the idea of having planning items on a separate day from the regular board meeting, because typically a planning item, especially if there's any controversy involved with it, will take an hour or 2 hours or even longer. And we do have a lot of very important planning matters coming forward in this current year. And I think that we should, both as a courtesy to the public and also to give us the opportunity to take the time that these items deserve, we should hold them on a separate day. So I would support having the planning items on Mondays. And we can work that around the the committee schedules.
Well, if there's a special planning issue coming up, we can do that, and we have done that in the past. I don't think that we need to reflect the schedule of designated certain days, but we can do that as planning issues, as large planning issues come forward, we can do that and make it accommodate the Monday committee meetings.
Well,
without changing this schedule, because we've done it not several times, but we've done it on occasion. Go ahead, Jay.
well, as long as we keep that in mind, because I think the Mendocino Town Plan issue probably took 2 hours, if I recall correctly. And so when you take up an item like that in your regular agenda, then you've got a lot of other people waiting for issues that are sitting there through this seemingly endless discussion of something they're not interested in. So hopefully we will keep in mind that when something that has some indications that it might be controversial or affect a lot of people, that we will set it for a separate day as a timed item, and I think that'll be to everyone's benefit. Thank you.
Supervisor Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A couple of comments. Just one small matter, which is on both of our alternatives here. The Washington, D.C. mention for the first week of February. I believe in my discussions with the CEO that has been more directed, certainly not set until we, of course, review our calendar, but we were targeting more the second week in February, but that doesn't affect our board schedule, at least as reflected here, but that I think is going to be more conducive to what we need to do in Washington. So that's a minor point, because it's not really an item of discussion here for the board and the public. To Supervisor McCowan's comments, I think it would be good to have planning matters targeting a particular day. In looking at the alternative draft, though, we certainly wouldn't be doing all planning matters. So it would give us one option, but it isn't even monthly. I see February, then we go to April, then we don't see it again till July, then September. So I think it would be good to have that as a target. Since it's a combo, it doesn't hold us to that. It's a combo. The indicator here is a combination of Board of Equalization, workshop scheduling, and planning matters. So I think the alternative still gives us the flexibility to do what Supervisor McCowan is referencing. That isn't going to cover certainly all planning matters, so I think that then that becomes a juggle for the schedulers, for both the clerk of the board and for the planning team and the planning department to figure out how we do that. And I would hope that it would be being mindful of where the public need to come from within the county as to how that's scheduled, so we can try to provide maximum flexibility for those that travel from Leggett and Willits and Covelo and Wallala and Fort Bragg. So I think I would support the ability to start targeting some Mondays for planning matters, but it is certainly expanding. I'd say this is an expansion of our schedule from last year. So I think we need to have the general discussion of, is that the desire of the board? Do we want to go in that direction? In general, I tend to favor that because I think it's better and easier to vacate dates than it is to have people scramble and create new ones. So in general, I would support that, but I do want to go to the clerk because Supervisor McCowan asked that she comment on the pattern that Supervisor Colfax was referencing, the April, May, June. So if the clerk could comment on his request.
Well, with regard to the no more than 4 meetings in a row cycle, that is something that we have tried to follow. There are 4 board meetings right now scheduled for June, and staff could look at those dates and possibly recommend cancellation of the 9th or the 16th, but on your consent calendar day you have the master budget calendar to